State of Origin decider and winner for the Maroons. Sorry, Blues supporters. Now, just before we start on the web stream, the toilets are down the left to infinity and beyond. Turn left. So if you need to go down the back there. The exit, if we're having an emergency, is exactly the way that you came in. Doesn't take a lot of brain power to work that one out. Also, we've got some apologies. Cheryl, from the president of the regional chamber, sends her apologies. She would have loved to have been here. And also Leanne Grant from my organisation, the general manager of Flower Hub, she couldn't be here tonight either. Anybody else have any apologies that wanted to raise? Noted, Stuart, thank you. So it's going to be fairly informal. Before we start, Tony is here and he hates it when the spotlight goes on him, but Tony did win an award Friday night, the ABC Brisbane Community Project Award, Bridging the Digital Divide, with over 1,200 computers upcycled for disadvantaged Logan students. Well done. Congratulations. It's a good effort. And also, remiss, we'd like to mention Vanessa Gerard, and I hope I said that right. Is Vanessa here? Garrard, thank you. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her yet. Okay. And that's my alarm telling us that we're over time. Sorry. Vanessa is a former Marsden State High School lady. She's a serial entrepreneur. She runs multiple ventures, including Austrail Camping. I think at last count, JT was saying that she runs 17 businesses. Amazing. She generously gives back to the Logan City innovation ecosystem by championing youth. She's a pitch judge, a mentor, a paddlist on the Logan Startup Weekend and Future Anything Activate and Young Entrepreneur Summit. So we just wanted to mention her and say, good job, well done. What a strong lady. I can't wait to meet her. That'll be awesome. Okay, so tonight, welcome to the Founders Series. This is what we hope will be one of many, and it's a chance to get to know people. It's a really intimate way, hopefully, to listen in, get the stories of the founders of their companies and find out what makes them tick and how do they do what they do. There's a crowd here, obviously 40 is the max we could have in the venue, and just thanks to Go One and Vu and the team for allowing us to be here tonight. And we also have a live stream via YouTube. It'll be available later. So if you're one of the founders, you can always just pass that around your socials and your people. If you want to go, look, that's me. You can do that. It's a YouTube link, and JT has it. So the format will be, I'll introduce you to the founders. We are late kicking off. I know the Origin's on, so we'll try and pick up some time. If you have to leave right at 6:30, please feel free to do that. Don't feel like you have to stay till everyone's finished talking. I'd like to begin today's events by respectfully acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are gathered, including elders past and present. Welcome to the Founders Series. My name is Nicki Christensen, or Coach Nicki. I'm the host of the Business 101 show on Logan 101 FM every Monday night at 6 o'clock. It's my pleasure to be here tonight, and it's my pleasure to be the host to interview the four founders. I'm going to introduce them one by one, and then I'm going to get them to join me on the couch, and then we're going to do a bit of speed dating and try and work out what makes them tick, but I'll be gentle, don't worry. Now, what makes a founder tick? What can they share with us that will accelerate our individual success? Are they normal? Are they super entrepreneurs? Do they have any self-doubt, or are they just ninja-focused people? Well, that's what I want to find out, because I really want to find out what makes them tick. So first up, we're in his house. Vu, come on up. You're number one. Vu Tran from Go One. Now, you're going to stand out the front here with me for a second, because I want people to look at you, because I want you to face. Vu, a qualified doctor, still practicing, that birthed the world's largest online training platform out of a garage with mates, I think, and I'm going to qualify that later, in January 2014. That's only 6 years ago. World's largest, and only 5 years to dominate the world. Offices in USA, UK, Africa, Malaysia and Vietnam. And a key event happened to Vu in 2015, which really seemed to me like that was the catalyst, and we're going to find out more about that later. Welcome, Vu. Marcia. Hello. Marcia Edwards, the Cryogenics Group. Second generation co-director in this family business that was founded in 1993, 27 years ago. It's a longevity already, congratulations. Marcia joined her parents and made it a mother-daughter duo. There'll be a lot of challenges and battles in that one. The only Indigenous cryogenics group in Australia. Welcome to the couch. Have a seat. Marcia's babysitter pulled out tonight, so we said, bring the kids. It's informal. Come on along. Next up, we have Matt Holme. Did I say that right, Matt? Holme. Okay. Logan Holme. You can't get any more Logan than that. Welcome, Matt. Now, you may know Matt from my work, but he's here today with YouPay. So my work, YouPay. I thought that was a good phrase. Hashtag. Anyway. Previously a producer at EA Canada. So if you've ever played FIFA soccer, his team. Huge. And also co-CEO of the largest online sports video game community in the world. 1 million subscribers a month. That's going to be interesting. Started my work 11 years ago, and he said every business needs a website. You're onto something 11 years ago. Yeah, history has proven you correct, my friend. And in 2016, Matt won Brisbane's Young Entrepreneur of the Year award. This year you've launched YouPay, and I can't wait to hear about it. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome to the couch. And last but not least, Michael. Hello, Michael. Welcome. No, you're all very impressive in your own rights. Michael Roach, Black Box, co-founder with his brother Ashley, who's here today. Ashley, how are you? You should actually be up here too, but we've let you sit this one out. It was an accidental idea by his brother involving an intervalometer. Intervalometer, we'll explain that later. I didn't know what it was, I had to Google it. Now sees the company as Australia's largest time-lapse provider. Amazing. But it's about more than film, it's about solutions and also AI. Can't wait to hear more about it. Welcome to the couch. All right, that's our founders, folks. You comfortable? No one's nervous? No? Good, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a quick get to know you. I call that speed mating, because we're going to be mates by the end of this, okay? Not the other word. From there, we'll get to our founders' panel questions. Sound okay? All right, let's get into it. Ver, you're first up. The rest of you can relax. It's going to take 15, 20 minutes, so just kick back, have a drink. Sorry? Yeah, no, that's very good, very good. Does your mic work? Regent, could we have an audio check, please, sir? We want to make sure we've got good audio because we have everybody out there in YouTube. Hello. Welcome to the Founders Series.
Hello.
Good. Yes, excellent. Hello. Hi, Boo.
Hey, mate.
Boo, how does a doctor get into web development?
I get asked this question often.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, well, nothing original there. No, I think I've got to really specify that my co-founders and I started our first business when we were in high school. So our big thing that it came back to is we got into web design, building websites when we were 16 in high school. This was back in 2005, 2006. It wasn't cool to start your own startup as a high school kid when we were in year 11 and 12. The Catapult program that was launched by Logan City Council recently, I would have died for a program like that. We were the weird kids at school who decided to start their own business as opposed to, go work at McDonald's or Woolies. So, I'll come back to something really simple. My parents are Vietnamese migrants. I was born here. But I challenge you to find a migrant family that doesn't have a small business or start a business of some sort. So for me, growing up as a kid, my parents and family members always ran a business of some kind. And so for me to say to Andrew when we were during an open day at our high school, hey, let's start our own business. What can we do? Oh, let's build websites. It didn't feel weird to do that. And I guess that set us on the journey we are now. So if I talk about kind of how did I go from medicine to running a small business, it's actually the other way around. We actually, we all pursued our university degrees while running a business.
Okay. Fantastic. That makes more sense to me because when I was researching, I went, how does he make that leap? Now, so you were a nerd before it was cool to be a nerd?
Exactly.
Right, okay.
But my co-founders are even bigger nerds, so...
Wow. Now, it was 3 of your friends?
Yeah, so myself and Andrew are best mates, like as an example, and the thing that I'll come back to is that we always say that we're friends first, founders second. And that's what's allowed us to have the longevity that we have. As an example, Andrew dropped his daughter off to my place this morning. Our kids are hanging out today and he's probably going to go pick them up right now. Andrew and I in the same year, best mates since we were kids. Chris Aiglin was in the year below us, and Chris Hood, who's our CTO, joined us a bit later on during the journey. But 3 of us went to high school together.
Oh, lovely. So it's like a family business, really.
Yeah, it is. But I guess without the complexities of family.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that when we get to Marcia.
Sorry, I didn't mean to look at you when I said that. I was just more so looking at everyone else.
Tell me, what happened in 2015 that was so pivotal for Go One?
I'm trying to think of which thing happened that you're talking about there. But I think there's a really important thing to understand. If you read the newspapers or if you're hearing us talk about Go One, we'll tell you we started in 2015. But as a founding team, we've been together for over 15 years, right? And that's really important. That history is incredibly important. Out of the basement 2 doors down here, so we have this building, we have the building 2 doors down, which some of you may have driven to and then realised that it's empty. There is a basement underneath that, and when you get a chance, go down that driveway and have a look at that basement. It's not legal height, okay? So council, it's the storage area. But we ran our small business out of there for 5 years because our rent was $600 a month, right? And so I guess what I'm trying to come back to is that when we got to the point, we built a pretty good business over the course, by that stage, over a course of 8 or 9 years. You know, we had millions of dollars worth of revenue. We had a team. We were about 25, 26, and we were building a few really good businesses. But one of the things that we came back to is that we realised that we were just a professional services business. We didn't own any of the products that we were building, that we were doing, that we were creating for people. And there wasn't really anything that we could really hang our hat on at the end of the day and say, this is a legacy or this is something that gives us a sense of purpose. So what we decided to do instead was we looked at everything we ran, and by that stage we ran about 6 different businesses, right? And we chose...
What was the worst one?
The worst one was an asset management system that allowed council, to be able to track all of their assets, water, sewage, all of these sorts of things, mapped across GPS coordinates, and was used by quite a few councils throughout southeast Queensland. That was one we built on a whim, and it was actually quite successful, but it wasn't very glamorous. But at the end of the day, we looked at our sort of portfolio of companies and we said, what's the one thing that we love doing? Like by that stage, we got to the stage where we go, there's a lot of things we don't really like doing. What's the thing we really love? What's the thing that really gives us purpose? And that's where we honed in on learning. Because out of all of our backgrounds, you know, I'm a doctor, Chris is a lawyer, Andrew's an economist, Chris is an engineer. What do we have in common? And it was a genuine love of learning. You know, it's something that we're passionate about. It's something that we want to make sure that our team is passionate about and the people we meet are passionate about. And by that stage, out of all the 6 different businesses or 5 or 6 different businesses we were running, the learning component was the smallest. It had no money associated with it whatsoever, or very little money associated. I'm saying like tens of thousands of dollars of revenue across several million dollars worth of revenue. And in the course of several months, we actually just jettisoned pretty much, or got rid of the entire businesses that we spent our entire adult lives building and focused on the learning product that we wanted to build.
You got rid of all the ones that were making you money.
Making us tons of money.
And you went to the one that didn't.
Yes.
To follow your why.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was
That's a big call.
Well, that's important. And so what we did was we went through Y Combinator, which is what happened in 2015. Those of you who don't know what Y Combinator is, we didn't know what it was when we were going through it. We just said, we'll apply and see how we go. But Steve Baxter described an Australian company getting into Y Combinator at that time like an Australian getting onto American Idol. And we didn't realise what a great opportunity it was. But as a company there where they choose a cohort of about 60 companies twice a year, right now there's and it's out of something like 10,000 or 20,000 applications. You go and live in Mountain View in Silicon Valley for 3 months. And people are like, what's so special about the program? You know, do they teach you anything great or anything like that? They teach you nothing. What they do is they bring together a great high-performing cohort. So, you know, they choose that top 0.1% that they see when they screen them, put them all in one place and give them access to anyone they want to talk to. So if we wanted to spend half an hour with Peter Thiel to talk to him about, you know, our idea, we could get half an hour with him. But there is no amazing teaching or sort of principles that they give you. They just say you have 3 months to build your company to be as big and as successful as it can. And then on demo day, in 3 months' time, you're going to pitch to about $500 billion worth of investors. Not billion, trillion. And that room is full of about, you know, a few hundred investors, and you've got 2 minutes to get up there and pitch in front of them. And that's what Y Combinator leads up to. Now, we were very fortunate going that because what that did was that changed our eye line as to what we wanted to be, to what we actually understood what we could be. And that was huge because I think, you know, if your limitations are what you think you're capable of, and, you know, we went from being what we thought was a relatively big fish but in a small sea to realising we're a small fish in a really big sea. But actually, all these big fish started where we were. So, when you talk to someone like Peter Thiel, when you talk to someone like the Airbnb guys at the time, so Airbnb, Dropbox, Cruise, Twitch, all came out of Y Combinator.
Wow.
And so it was really good for us to be able to have that experience, but more so almost get that vote of confidence to say, actually, you deserve to, you're capable of being able to duke it out and be there amongst these guys. And I think it's when you're given that confidence that you decide to kind of run with it.
And that was the pivot that just took you worldwide?
That was the pivot that put us on this journey.
Yeah.
But I think, it's been 5 years, but 5 years is a very long time in the startup world. We've gone through lots of ups and downs. We've gone through lots of, you read all the good stuff in the newspaper. And if any of you guys run a business, you will read all the good stuff in the newspaper. You'll never read the bad stuff, right?
We're going to get to that later.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's good. Now, your profile says you want to change the world with technology.
Yeah, if I can give you the spiel that I would give customers or potential customers, it's quite like, I'm actually going to quote Archimedes here. He said something along the lines of, give me a lever long enough and a place to stand and I will turn the world. And our belief is that lever is education. That's how we make a difference in the world. And that fulcrum through which you turn that lever is technology. So that was part of that sort of underlying idea of why do we want to chase this product that's worth very little to us, but we want to be able to turn it into what we are today. Now that product was what's called a learning management system. We learned very quickly that there were over 600 globally. So today Go1 is not a learning management system. We're not an LMS. I think you described us as the Netflix or Spotify for learning. But the way we got there was through 1,000 different pivots or changes across the course of the last 5 years. And we're only one step of probably 1,000 more steps we need to get to be able to get where we need to get to.
Amazing. Thank you, Vu. Does that give you a good sense of what Vu's doing? Fantastic. We could go on for another hour, but we'll move on. Marcia, the Cryogenics Group, it's a family business, mum and daughter duo. How's your microphone?
It's on.
Fantastic. How did mum end up starting TCG?
So back in 1993, the company was first founded, and it was actually by both my parents. So Dad had already worked in the gas industry for many years. Mum was actually a qualified teacher, and she studied up at James Cook University. And they just started to feel like they needed to be doing something more than what was going on at the moment. Had a really young family, and decided that they would Dad, I guess, saw the gap in the market, working for some of the larger suppliers, and just being on the front line, seeing what the complaints were over and over again from customers, like, maybe we can do something about this, maybe we can fix it. So they just went for a small loan and got all the basic stuff they needed to get started, and that's how it happened back in 93, yeah.
Wow. Saw the problem and solved it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Fantastic. What a cry.
It's still now really the gap that we're bridging at the moment, so even after 27 years.
What's that one question you hate being asked? Do you freeze dead bodies? You told me on the phone that you don't do that yet.
Yeah, I always say yet. We're not doing it yet.
Okay. It's a possibility.
I mean, yeah, never say never, but...
I think Walt Disney is a client.
Not at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, Walt Disney. Why did you join the family business?
I joined back in 2009, and at the time I was working over in Perth for a mining company, actually, and Mum started to go, like, it was still really only her and Dad, and I think there was maybe one or two other people, but we're still quite a lean, small company, even though we're operating across Australia. So she just went, I don't know, I need to hire somebody else, but I'm not really sure, like, and then asked me if I wanted to come back, and kind of weighed it up, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'll do it, I'll come back. So yeah, it's been quite a while.
Do you think working in a family business would you surmise that it's easier working in a family business than working, say, in a mining company? Is it harder or easier working in a family business environment?
Okay, I feel like there's more pressure.
Michael's shaking his head over there. So.
I feel like I've got to say there's more pressure because even though I was doing 12-hour days out on site, you still get home and you switch off and you just don't care, and you're just going to get paid at the end of the week or month or however it is. But there's more pressure to keep going in your family business. You can't just go, I don't kind of like this anymore, or swap to another company or something like that. So I'm going to say it's harder. Like, it would be an
It's not
easier
easy.
life working just for just some regular other company that wasn't family. So yeah, definitely. Yeah.
The point of the question is I work for a family business as well. I work for my dad and I now work with my lovely wife, Millie. And you never switch off.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you are, you're always talking about business. Mm-hmm. And why I raise it is there's a lot of people that have asked me, I'm thinking about going into business with my brother or my sister, but I'm not sure I want to take that step and change the dynamic. Mm. And I always say, yeah, you've got to be really serious about doing it. Yeah. So that's why I asked you that question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Liquid nitrogen freezes stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yep. I was not a good chemist at school. You say they do food, IVF, medical research and blood bank.
Yes.
So I'm just imagining the white cloud of liquid nitrogen, it just makes stuff cold, but it's obviously more detailed than that. What do you want to share about what the company does, just so we understand it just a little bit better?
Okay, so we do a wide range of applications. So that's just some of what we do, like supplying to IVF clinics. Even that in itself is a huge thing to undertake every day. And like you say, you don't switch off because 1 o'clock in the morning, one of them could call and they need backup equipment. It's urgent. Like, you got to get there within the hour, or like emergency supply, because there's embryos and things that are relying on it. So being there 24/7 is that for the IVF clinics. The same thing for blood banks, medical research, same thing. And then,
so that's the hardware as well. It's not just the nitrogen, it's everything around it.
Yeah, all the equipment, all the associated equipment that goes with it. And then just basically during normal working hours, medical centres, so skin clinics, dermatologists, places like that, we're just doing regular supply to those guys. And we also supply all their equipment, but it's not so urgent if something fails because, and on the industrial side, we do pipe freezing and shrink fitting, which is completely different, but we still use liquid nitrogen for it. So pipe freezing is basically solidifying the liquid within the pipe. Once we do that, holds back all the pressure flow in the line, and plumbers or whoever's doing the maintenance on the line comes in, they can do their maintenance without having to drain the whole building or apartment block or whatever it is. So we do a lot of that work, Brisbane City, Perth, Melbourne, but also in remote areas as well. So. Wow. Yep.
Is there any domestic application for that? Not yet? Too dangerous, right?
A good prank?
Yes. Yeah, good prank.
Yeah.
A fun application.
Yeah, I mean, we don't sell to the general public. So
too risky.
But we do get the inquiries about it, but yeah, I'm always a bit like iffy about no.
Risk matrix. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're the only Indigenous cryogenics company in Australia.
Yep.
Do you feel any cultural pressure? Because I know there's that family business pressure of being, the kid and doing well. Yep. But do you have any cultural pressure as well, or is that just something, a dumb question that someone that doesn't understand asks?
No, it's a good question. So I'm a Wappabarra descendant, and my people are from Keppel Island, off the coast of Queensland. I guess we feel as an Indigenous business, there's a lot of pressure to give back, and we almost feel like, although we're a registered company, it should almost be like a registered charity kind of thing, because you feel so much pressure to always be supporting others, like supporting our communities, other communities, and there is definitely that. I mean, a lot of the other companies would be feeling that too, but we really feel like, because our families are in these different communities, that we're constantly having to support.
So there is pressure there.
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you.
Thanks.
Michael, Black Box.
The hard acts to follow, those ones.
Well, no, you guys are great too. Also a family business, co-founded with Ashley. We established that. What is an intervalometer?
Yeah, that's a sort of a long story. So Ashley and I...
Try and make it quick.
So Ashley and I started out with a commercial photographic company called Full Frame Photographics. And back then we were sort of living off 2-minute noodles. And every time we went to a camera store, he said, I want to buy something new. And I said, this was like $100. It's an intervalometer, is essentially a camera trigger that sets the time for a camera to shoot. I said, we will never use this thing, ever, so don't buy it. And he said, no, I'm going to buy it. And then sort of 2 weeks later, a client rings up and says, can you do a time lapse? And you need this thing to do a time lapse.
You're joking.
I could see the smile on his face at that time. He said, yeah, this is really good. So that night he spent about 12 hours camped out by the side of the road with this intervalometer, capturing a bridge demolition. So he's sort of never let me live it down since then.
So it's almost like it was an accidental sort of foray into this.
It was, yeah. Because at that time we were doing a bit of work with construction and engineering clients, and clients had said to us, can we do time-lapse? And we'd never done it before. And we just said, yeah, sure, we can do that. And then we just figured out how to do it. And then the next client said, can you do a longer-term time-lapse, which is sort of like a 3 months, and that was the airport link tunnel. And we said, yeah, sure, we can do that. But the problem is we had never done anything of that sort of scale before, because we had to figure out how long batteries have to last, if the camera's going to last that long as well. So Ashley and I, we went to Bunnings, and we went to sort of aisle 23, and we found this box, which was an old drain, and we sort of Frankenstein something together, and we set it up outside the airport link tunnel, and we were checking back on the battery every couple of days to make sure it was actually shooting. And we sort of made it work. And then from there, a client, we actually started blog posting at that stage and a client said to us, that started generating a bit of traction. And a client rang us up and said, can you do a long-term time-lapse, which is for 2 years? And we said, yeah, sure, we can do that. And then...
Just say yes, work it out later.
Yeah, so it was... then they accepted the quote, and I got off the phone, I thought, how the hell are we going to do this thing? So we had 2 weeks to deliver this before it had to be installed. So Ashley and I, we had to literally... We figured out getting modems and computers and all this sort of stuff, and we made this massive box with just sort of off-the-shelf components, and literally the day before it was installed, we worked 48 hours, sort of 24 hours straight. We didn't sleep. Ashley was actually I was driving up to Dolby at that time. He was soldering in the front seat to make it work, and we installed it. It worked, and and we made it happen. So, and then on the drive back, we thought, okay, there's something we've got something here, and we came up with the brand Black Box at that time. And then the brand started, and the company sort of started growing organically at that stage, and to the point where, we sort of just recently sold off full frame, and now, Black Box is our full thing. So,
well done. So you just said yes and you worked it out.
You
didn't have the product, you just sold it first and then built the product, which is exactly the
says,
right way to do it when you speak to internet marketers.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, I don't think anything's that hard, so we just...
Not in aisle 23, it's not.
No, exactly right. Yeah, so it did evolve since then. So we figured out new ways to make things, and it's been really good. So we grew from sort of like a handful of cameras. Now we've got over 300 cameras Australia-wide, and we're moving into site security and some analytical side of things as well. So
that's my next question. And before I get there, how did you know the moment that this is it? Was it the amount of inquiry coming in?
Yeah, so I think we're at the stage where, like, photography is quite a challenging company, and at that time the perceived value for photography was dropping, and what we could charge out for that, and we're constantly having to tell clients the value for what we're doing.
Everyone can take a photo on their phone. What do you?
Yeah, and it just became that harder pitch to try and tell them this is the value of what we're doing for you guys, and where time lapse was a lot easier to try and get across, and we could charge a lot more for it, and we were starting to get a lot more inquiries at that stage as well. So. We just thought, okay, we really need to start taking this seriously. And we were sort of talking to two different target markets. One's construction managers and engineering clients, and the other one was marketing. And they're two different budgets. Construction budget is big, marketing budget is small. So, we thought, okay, we really need to do this. And so the benefit with Ashley and I, our background's with that marketing and advertising. So we created the brand, and then it started really just going gangbusters after that. So it was really good.
Congratulations. Yeah. And something you touched on, which I found very interesting, it's not just about taking the footage of something. You're actually overlaying AI and you're wanting to provide solutions like for PPE or for construction with soil and movement and dust. And how do you do that? Yeah,
so we're actually just about to launch a new product. We've got a thing on the App Store has just been launched, which is Black Box Live. So that's a security side of product. So using video as a sensor. So there's some really smart cameras out there nowadays. So for us, the thing is, everything is about IoT, so Internet of Things. We can create the box, the camera, the solar panel, all the power management side of things, and then getting that information, talking to a portal. So we see the value in what we do is not so much the hardware, it's the client experience at the end of the day. So we're creating the tools and the software to grabbing whatever sort of sensor that we need. So it could be dust, noise, atmospheric, The other things is video as a sensor, which is it can determine if you're wearing PPE, hard hat, high-vis vest, boots and things like that. And then displaying that information to make it as easy for the project managers to get that information as quickly as possible, essentially. So that's the real value we see the company going. So
They're solving a problem.
it is exactly right, yeah. I think these guys, the thing is with our target market is these guys have got very little time. They're under a lot of pressure. So if we can make their job easier just by giving them valuable information as quick and easy as possible, that's the value that we see. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's a great story. Matt, you're an e-com machine. You started my work, and today you're here talking about YouPay. You're a gaming nerd. We talked about the EA Canada thing, so you've got an underlying interest in the gaming and tech. Is that fair to say that?
Yeah, I've been in the internet industry from the age of 15. I started my first website. It was on geocities.com. Anyone remember that? You got a whopping 2 megabytes free space. Wow. And you could build a website. So I built a website around a video game I was playing at the time called FIFA 98. And I guess you could say it was a fan site. I was a fanboy of that game and started a website. Didn't think I was starting a business, just something I was interested in grade 10 at school. And
So
go
you
on and
have
tell
commonality
the
with
story.
VU. You know, you had a passion, you started, it's
Absolutely,
evolved.
yeah. That's it. And then, within a period of time when that website got a little bit popular, I started connecting with the people who make the game at EA. They effectively saw that what I'd unintentionally done is effectively created the first FIFA community. So a forum, a message board for people to effectively just complain about the things they don't like about the game, which is really what still happens today. But at that point in time, there was a real disconnect between the community, the fans, and the developers. It really was unheard of that you could have a voice and impact the development of the game. So I was kind of the first to bridge that gap. And then within 4 years, I guess they'd seen that there was some, passion in me and potentially an opportunity there to have me as part of the production team. So from the age of 15 through to when I was then 20, I was actually part of the production team. So got flown over to Vancouver, Canada, lived there for 4 years. And, as a young fella, I guess, living the dream, actually part of the team, able to have a say on the video game that I was a fan of, actually being part of the team building the game. So really an amazing experience.
I hate my guidance counsellor right about now. He said be a solicitor or an accountant.
Well,
he never said go work for EA Sports.
Well, ironically, Vu mentioned the Catapult program that I was a part of. It was awesome because I went to Shaler Park High just around the road. And it was really cool because one of my teachers from grade 12, who I remember telling the story of how I was making money from running a video games website, John Aarons, he's actually still a teacher there. So I caught up with him after 21 years. And at first, of course, I'm assuming close to thousands of kids go through Shaler High in that last 2 decades. I was like, hey, do you remember me? He was like, yeah, of course I remember you. We used to sit there clicking on your ads going, oh, he's making more money. And I was like, that's right, we did too. So
well, you started the world's first click farm, you didn't even know it. That's fantastic.
Ironically, that was pre-Google. Like Google only existed in 1999, so that's pre-Google AdSense, and that was just real primitive stuff. But yeah, I used to get 5-10 cents per click, and you could, because before the AI and the intelligent stuff behind the scenes now, you could sit there and just keep making money. So that's literally what we used to do at high school.
Life before Google. Sounds weird when you say it out loud,
strange,
doesn't
it? Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So you spent 11 years doing websites, and it was like the passion. You said, yeah, businesses should have a website, and that was back when you still had to flog the idea to businesses and convince them.
Well, that's it, yeah. So I started, came back from EA in 2008 and 2009. Family-run business too. Our general manager, Dan, who's my brother-in-law, so he married my sister, obviously got to know Dan, came on as a business partner, and we started a web design company called My Work. And actually really encouraging to hear Vu's story, because I remember back in those early days with Go1 also being a local web development company, and we'd share clients from time to time. I think when you offloaded some of your clients there back when you segued into what you're doing right now, we picked up quite a few clients from Go1. It's great to see the evolution, and that's kind of, I think, the stage we're going through right now. So we've built upwards of 8,000 websites over the past 11 years, many of them e-commerce websites. And what happened over the last 6 months is we came up with this concept for a new payment gateway that we could introduce first and foremost at our clients, And even though that particular idea called YouPay is something that's only very new, very primitive in the sense that we've only came up with the idea back in July, so it's only 5 months old.
Now, I just want to clarify, it's not BNPL, is it?
It's not, no.
No. So buy now, pay later. This is not like an afterpay, or this is a different concept.
Yeah, so the way I present it is there's two options on the market right now when it comes to checking out in an online shop. There's the first option, which is your traditional instant payments. There's PayPal, there's MasterCard and Visa. If you've got the money, you're going to use that. And then there's the second option, the BNPL, the buy now, pay laters, the afterpays, the Klarnas, the ZipPays of the world. What we're doing with YouPay is introducing a new third sector, which allows you to have someone else pay for your order. And the big problem we're going after, and the way we're positioning this, is that there's 4.5 trillion US dollars that go through successfully in online shop transactions every 12 months. And that number's obviously escalating incredibly quickly thanks to COVID. But that's just the successful transactions. 80% of the time, a cart is abandoned. Cart abandonment's a massive problem. So we're chasing that 80% of the market because before you abandon cart, basically what we're doing at YouPay is tapping you on the shoulder and say, hey, wait a second, you could actually have someone else pay for your order. Not for everybody, but 80% of that 4 trillion in successful market and in successful transactions actually represents 24 trillion US dollars that's being left on the table. So we're going after a little chunk of that 24 trillion.
You're thinking a little bit small there, I think.
Yeah, I thought that's
Isn't
what I
that
thought.
amazing? So someone can go and buy it, they can pick what they want and get somebody else to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly right. So that was the origin story in July. What I'd done, being Origin Night, I guess it's topical. I'd won a little bit of money in my sports bet account. So I went in to see my wife and said, oh, good news. I got a little bit of money there. Why don't I buy you a gift? So she jumped at it and said, look, I would love this dress. I'm like, okay, well, no worries. I'll grab that for you. She's like, what I'll do, I'll pick out exactly the one I want. I'll put it in my cart and I'll share my cart with you. Now, anybody here from a technical background will understand that's impossible because of the user session being stored on her device. She couldn't successfully share that with me. And I was like, all right, well, I'll do it. I'm not a customer of Supre or wherever she wanted to buy it from. I don't really want to become a customer. I guess I'll have to. That takes a little bit of time. Comes in a variety of sizes, comes in a variety of different colours. Real convoluted back and forward process. All I wanted to do was gift. All I wanted to do was make the payment. And we thought, there's got to be a better way of doing this. And as I said, I've been building e-commerce websites for the past 11 years. She's been doing a lot of shopping online in the last 11 years. And between the two of us, we haven't seen anything like that. So we thought, you know what, let's do it. Let's fix that problem. And we started YouPay.
And how long's it been around now?
5 months. So, and we're in 11 stores. It's really exciting. We've got some bigger merchants showing interest. We held the first, what we're calling the first annual YouPay Day back on October 22nd. So it's only very small, but sure, it's only 5 months old, but a little bit similar to the way Vu was describing how he says his business started in 2015 publicly, but the reality is it's been there, slaving away, slogging it out since 2005, 2006. I started my work with Dan back in 2009, so it's taken us about a decade to get to this point where we've found this problem that we're trying to solve with YouPay.
But it's easy. It's an 11-year overnight success, right?
That's it, yeah. Exactly right.
Well done. Well, folks, that's the calibre of founders we've got sitting with us. What do you think? Hey? How good is it? It's humbling. Well done. I mean that. It's really well done. And it's funny, when you work away in your businesses, I mean, you have this in the back of your head probably. They go, yeah, I know I'm good at what I do. But you don't walk around there constantly thinking that every day. You're just solving problems in your business and getting on with it, right? So I love the idea that we can actually pause and just reflect, and it's almost like pay homage to like that mental genius that each one of you has brought to your different business trades. Now, what did you take out of that? It's a lot of family businesses on the couch. I would almost, accidental entrepreneur is a really poor term, but those key business ideas that are now driving your income streams came from a pivot or an even accident pivot, something that just came up, but you had the courage to take the action to go, we're going that way. You gave up your revenue. You killed your iPod. It was cool.
I mean, we gave up revenue, but also, how do you go about doing it? Like our goal was to be able to change our business virtually overnight, go back to nothing, but not lose a single staff member. Now, we had about 20 staff at that time. And so doing so, it's like, how do you do that? Right? We didn't have lots of cash in the bank from it. We were just a cash flow positive business, but not enough to be able to do that. And so so it's beyond that. I think it's actually taking on the risk as well. Every single one of us have taken on a risk of some sort. I don't think it's just a matter of going, we've accidentally found something great. It's actually, there's the added sort of downside of actually we all rolled the dice in some way or form. If you've ever collected trading cards or baseball cards or anything along those lines, I collected credit cards.
Very good. Touche. All right, we're going to change up the pace a bit because we've gone through each one. Now we're going to play a game. We're going to wake you up. I want you to fill in the blank and I want you to tell me the first word that comes to your mind. No censoring of thoughts. We're in an adult... Well, no, we're not. We've got kids, so make sure it's clean. My competitors.
Don't exist.
We'll come back. Blank my competitors. What's the word you're putting in there?
Research.
Research?
Like.
Ooh. I had hate. Maybe that's a whole session. Next year, I am definitely going to...
Rest.
I'm going to say expand. We'll be expanding.
Excellent. I love it.
Yeah, definitely expanding for us.
Expand?
Yeah, get some funding.
Funding. Fantastic. You're resting? Okay.
That's every year. Every year for the last 15 years. Right? Like, it's like, I'm going to take a holiday next year. I promise.
It never comes. You'll be
poor
expanding.
wife.
You were going to fill in the blank for my competitors?
I wouldn't say I hate them.
No,
we
that was a joke.
basically, yeah, we basically look at them and see how can we do it different. So
I learn from my competitors?
Learn, yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
cool. Well done. If I wasn't doing what I do now, I'd like to... We'll start this in.
I think I could be a professional gambler. No, couldn't really.
Poker was a big game.
Yeah, well, I would love to do that, honestly. I'd be terrible at it, but I enjoy that aspect of my weekends.
You could use YouPay and someone else could pay for it.
That's it.
I love it. It's good.
That's a good question. I don't know, I really enjoy what I'm doing, to be honest. I don't think I would do anything else. I love the challenge of my own business, so I'm not sure if there's anything else that I would rather be doing.
Oh, you're still in love with your business. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Not for too much longer.
No, it's so good. Well done.
If anything, I'd probably go back to my first job was in real estate, and after that, I started investing as well. So I'd probably just focus all my energy on my investment portfolio. Yeah.
I'd probably figure out a way to get back into Go One.
It loves it too. Good on you. When it comes to time management, I'm
useless at that. That's why I have a good general manager. And that's actually, well, quick answers, right? So I'll just say that. I'm useless at it.
Yep.
I was going to say it's really important when you have a founding partner to define your roles, because it was a huge turning point for us at our web design company when we discovered that we weren't just both bosses. We're in charge, but I'm the CEO. I like doing stuff like this. I'm not good at project management. Dan's really good at it, so he's the general manager. So, yeah, the answer to your question is I'm no good at time management.
Yep.
That's probably one of my strengths, I think. Yeah, so just making sure we, hit our targets and make sure we get things done. Yeah.
I got to say, I'm not that great at it, but I've had to learn to get better. As we've grown more, it's like a necessity, so I've just had to get better at that. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm crap at it.
I had the word suck written down for me. Time management. It's a battle for me. I battle with that every day, but you have to do it, right? Yeah. I love to
go fishing.
Play with my kids.
Yeah, that's lovely.
I should have said that.
No, it's fine.
Watch cricket.
Yeah, get home in time for Origin. And
That was a hurry up to me, I think. Righto.
Yeah, watch the game with my kids. Yeah.
Nice, good on you. If someone cuts me off in traffic, I'm
pretty chilled.
Yeah, I got to say the same.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah, take a deep breath, Yeah.
That's a lot of mindfulness going on this couch, because you can ask my kids, there are some words passed on when people do that to me. Okay, a rapid fire answer, agree or disagree. The state government is largely irrelevant to my business.
Disagree.
Disagree.
Yeah, disagree.
Disagree.
Okay, very good. I said state, not local. Finding talent is challenging.
Agree.
I got to agree, yeah.
Talent, okay.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest challenges, finding good people.
Still.
Yeah.
I agree, but it's helped a little bit now that the whole work from home mindset is being embraced. So that has broadened the horizons of who you can look for now.
Have anyone on the couch not got anybody work from home during this period? Have we all had people work from home?
Yeah. For a short amount of time we had that, yeah.
How did you find it? Because before COVID, I didn't like it. I felt like out of sight, out of mind, can't manage it. It brings a whole level of complexity.
Yeah.
I'm now total chilled with it because I had to do it. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, for us, it was pretty easy because, you know, working in the online space and digital space, we're used to people being flexible. You know, every single one of those meeting rooms down there is a Zoom room. So if you book a physical meeting, you also get sent a Zoom link as well. So, you know, we were lucky. We're very fortunate. So it wasn't really that stressful. For me, I live 4 minutes away from here. So this was my office during COVID-19. I had 600 square meters to myself.
Yeah, similar to Vu. I mean, we're mostly online as well. Like all of our ordering system, payment systems, everything is online there. We're paperless. So we kind of run like that anyway. Like now there's probably messages and things coming through to my phone. So we just, like you said, we're just 24/7 anyway. And our guys that were on the road, because we have a critical service, we had to keep going out. So for us, not a lot changed during COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, we were pretty lucky. We got NBN a couple of weeks before COVID. So, like we were sitting on dial-up, and when we're a video delivery as well, so it was an absolute nightmare trying to manage that. But we put in a lot of processes in, and we actually found that we were actually a lot more efficient during COVID. The communication was actually really good. But Ashley and I, we still work from the office, and our team worked remotely. But we found it was really good.
Yeah, I think the big thing that's come out of it is now our clients and other businesses, not just the digital businesses, are kind of ready for that communication. The concept of organising a Zoom with a small business outside of the digital space was pretty much impossible pre-COVID. Now they're all kind of ready to go. So I think there's been huge benefits. It's a real big mindset shift. It's almost like, don't fight it. It's almost, I'm guessing it's a bit like maybe my parents in the sense that they might have tried to fight the concept of the internet. Waste of time, right? So don't fight the concept of working from home. It's happening, you know.
Yeah. I prefer Zoom meetings because they are more efficient time-wise. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, getting in and out.
Oh, it's really the same to me in the sense that you can have an inefficient meeting depending on who's running the meeting, the tone of the meeting, and you can have an inefficient Zoom meeting as well. So much of a muchness, really.
Can you just dial down the mindfulness at the end of the couch there? Because it's very mellow response. That's very good.
The only thing I find that you lose with a Zoom meeting is that when you're face-to-face, you can generate that rapport a lot better when you have meetings with people that you don't get when you're doing Zoom meetings.
The AFR came out with that. They surveyed CEOs and they said the creativity's been lost because the human connection face-to-face wasn't there during COVID. I've got an overseas team in the Philippines and I'm normally on site every quarter. And by not being there, I feel like I've lost a connection link. And we video chat every day, but it's exhausting. Have you guys found similar stuff?
Yeah, I think that Zoom fatigue concept is quite real. You know, you open up any of your calendars right now, I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of Zooms, Hangouts and Teams meetings in it. I think there's also that element of human connection, as you were saying before. I play a customer-facing role. I would rather be speaking to you all right here, right now in person than us all jumping on a Zoom call together. You know, that's the reality of it for me. So when it's like, are they less efficient? I think of their efficiency and their effectiveness, and I think that they are less effective overall. Like, you know, obviously there's a time and a place, but we can't not have face-to-face meetings.
That's pretty powerful. I mean, the world's largest provider of online learning saying we need face-to-face.
I did a medical degree. You would not come and see me if I did it purely online.
Yeah, fair enough. I just got smacked by the doctor. If all things are equal, I will follow my gut. So this question is, so if the balance of numbers versus, and you know, I'm trying to get out of you, do you trust yourself enough just to fire from the hip still, or are you going to go back to the numbers?
I mean, I don't speak for everyone, but I think we're all in a similar boat, is if we trusted the numbers, we'd all be doing a normal day job right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, that's almost in reverse what I think a lot of people in the YouTube stream are thinking right now. Because we get taught, follow the KPIs, make sure it makes sense from a left brain point of view, but you've all said, no, actually, we just saw it and went for it.
Yeah, I think you get a gut feeling for you know, you get a really good understanding of where your business is at and what you want to do, and I think most people get that gut feeling and just say, this is what I want to do, and you know, you go for it essentially. You just got to make it work. You know, that's the key.
I think
Older in the front seat of the car as you're driving.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Well, it just organically happens as well. Like in many respects, you find you've made the decision already because it is a gut feeling. You don't sit there going, wait on, it's decision time. You just the decision happens.
Actually, when Ashley and I first started out, we didn't have enough revenue to support one family, let alone two. But the first year we had to triple the income just to make sure we could survive, and we just made it happen. You just have to, put it all out there and make it work. So,
I'd say that too. Similar to you guys at Black Box, when we went over to WA for some completely unrelated work, we ended up chatting with some guys at Coregas, and obviously they're a West Farmers company and they operate Bunnings and all these other places. And at the end of the meeting, we ended up walking out saying that we were going to be doing the Trade and Go gas deliveries for Bunnings. And I was like, how the hell did that happen? Like, that's insane. But same thing, we didn't have a truck set up or anything. We'd never done that kind of thing before. So, and same thing, we just said, yeah, we can do it. And then when I got out, I was like, how the hell are we going to do it? And insanely, it was like 2 weeks. He was like, can you get it done in 2 weeks? And I just kept saying yes. And in my mind, I was like, why are you saying yes? But like, we pulled it off.
Just to clarify, she took on the Bunnings contract without a clue of how to fulfill it.
That's right.
And you just said, you did the right thing. You said, yes, I can do that.
Yeah. And that was just in a meeting. And of course, we hadn't been going through numbers. We didn't know really figures or anything like that. But just during that meeting, we went, these people like have the same vision as us, and they work the same as us, and we just felt like this is the right decision to make. And it was, because after starting working with those guys, it rolled on to other work, and it's just been one of the best decisions that we made, and it had nothing to do with the numbers at that stage.
So you mentioned on customer alignment with how you worked, almost like the vision, shared same values. I know, Vu, you touched on that earlier. How important is that when you're taking on clients? Will you say no to big clients if they don't fit in?
We have, yeah.
What about the other
definitely
founders?
Said no to big customers and smaller customers as well. And sometimes people feel like entitled, like, well, I'm a customer and you have to service me. But I feel like being a private company, we've got the choice to say no if we don't feel like we're the right fit or we're being disrespected or something like that. So.
Sorry, you had something you want to say?
I mean, you just have to say yes enough times for it to bite you in the backside to realise that you need to start saying no. Like, you've worked in agency. I think that's one of the big things it comes back to. You're chasing the money. But I was just going to say before, in terms of, that idea of whether or not, the question that we ask ourselves, I think a big part of it comes down to that curiosity of going, what's the question that we ask ourselves when there's a problem or something, or an opportunity that we see? And one of the things that really kind of frustrates me when I think about one of my co-founders, Andrew, who's our CEO, is that he'll always ask me the question when there's a problem. He'll always say, Vu, how do we fix this problem? He doesn't say, can we? He says, how do we? So, and I think that's a really important part. So when it comes to trusting our gut is actually what gets us to be curious and ask that question in the first place. And then the second question that should get asked is actually, how do we do something, not can we? If you ask yourself, can I fulfill the Bunnings contract? The answer would be no. If you ask yourself the question, how do we fulfill the Bunnings contract? You're forced to problem solve. You fix it and you do it that way. So I think part of it, I just wanted to go back to that to be able to say, actually, a lot of us will often ask the question how rather than can.
Which is a much better question.
Exactly.
Much better question. Well
it's
done.
also, and there's nothing like pressure as well, isn't there? When you've got a deadline to meet, you just have to make it happen.
Or sometimes when there's a problem, you go, maybe it's not the problem. Is there a silver lining? And there usually always is.
Yeah. I think a lot of the times clients come to us for solutions as well. So we have to present the solution and then make sure we can deliver on that. So,
but I think there's even more important things like, how do we feed two families, like you said before?
Yeah.
Like, you're forced to find a way to make that work, all right? And I think that's the important part that it comes back to.
It was a struggle. 2 minute noodles.
Yeah, I think we've all been there too, the 2 minute noodles. They're not very nutritious.
Oh, no, McGoring's better.
Okay, we're going to speed this up. We've got 2 minutes left and then we're on time because a lot of people want to get to the State of Origin game tonight. Now, Vu didn't wear his jersey on game 2 when we lost. So I have the mail that you've worn it tonight.
How did you know that?
I know a lot of things about you, Vu.
Because I didn't. Yeah, you're right. That's why I'm wearing it today.
Yes, I was watching. No. Okay, here's a quick question. It's New Year's Eve. The clock is just about to strike 12 this year. What conversations or thoughts are you going to be having with yourself just before that 12 o'clock strike? We'll start down the end with Matt.
Wow. From a business perspective, or wow.
Whatever you want to share. I mean, I was thinking of it from a business perspective.
Okay.
Normally the personal comes in, I'm going to lose weight this year, but
Yeah.
it's the business one that,
Well, I'm just excited and wow, like just never could I have possibly planned, or anybody in the world have planned for what 2020 gave us. So in many respects, more so than ever, just all the cliched things are being appreciative and probably excited because anything's possible in 2021 based off of what's been delivered in 2020. So
true.
Excitement. Yeah.
We've been to the bottom, and we're still here.
That's it.
Yeah, I think much the same. It's that excitement for us. Like, I do a lot of our strategic planning at the start of the year, so it's just, you never switch off when you've got your own business. You're always thinking about stuff. So for me, it's always thinking about what we want to achieve for that next year and make sure we do.
Being thankful, really being thankful for what we've got and that we've been able to continue trading. We've been able to employ more people, believe it or not, during COVID. Same thing, excited for what 2021 is going to hold. So,
I'm going to be asleep. Like, I'm the father of a 22-month-old, so I'll be asleep.
Okay.
I'll be thinking nothing.
Okay. And just before your eyes close at 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve, what is Tran going to be thinking to himself about this year as you reflect on it?
Oh, if I look back on it, I sit there and I go, all the things we were saying before wasn't what we thought it would be. But for Go One, because we work in the online learning space, we've had ridiculous growth over the last sort of 7 or 8 months. One of the big challenges it comes back to is back in March, we had no idea where it would go. We were battening down the hatches, being ready just in case. I think the thing is, whatever happens next year, we just got to be ready for it. I think we've got to go into next year with the same mindset we went into this year, because it allowed us to survive and grow.
That's an important question because a lot of SMEs, small business, I feel like they've taken their foot off the accelerator because they can't see over the hill 2021. So they're almost in a paralysis, waiting for whatever's going to happen. Are you saying that in 2021 you're just going to do what you normally do? You don't feel any sense of impending doom, or it's just going to be another year and the opportunity is going to be there again? Is it just it's business as usual? Is that what you guys are saying in general?
I think we're optimistic people by nature because that's the reason why we do what we do. If we were pessimistic, we wouldn't be doing this. So I think you've got to be optimistic in the face of whatever it might be, whether it be good or bad, because that's the only way you're going to get the outcome you're looking for.
I think it's also some people, there's a missed opportunity. Like if there's, with what's going on this year, that if you've got the time to work on your business, it's a very rare thing for a lot of business owners. It's a golden opportunity to work on that and plan for the future because we're not going to be in this forever.
Yeah, for me, the concept, and I'm here today as Matt from YouPay. Last New Year's, YouPay was 7 months away from being thought of. So to me, that demonstrates a sense of optimism that so much is possible and who knows what 2021 holds. Yeah.
Only an entrepreneur would launch something in the middle of a pandemic.
That's exactly what I did. But that, they always say that a lot of those great ideas came from like the global financial crisis, all the Ubers, etc., came out of that time. And I was actually quite excited that I came up with an idea. I knew I could execute it. And I was like, I think I've got a COVID idea. Bit of a cliched thing, but yeah.
No, well done. Look, there's a lot of people doing startups, right? It's a big ecosystem. What's the one thing you want the startup to know right now? If you distill down one message, one point, one thought, what's that thing that you would give them, that you'd want them to know? And we've got to be brief because we're running out of time.
My thoughts is if it's a really good idea, just stick with it and make it happen. Essentially, it's I think the difference between being successful and not successful is the time and the energy you put into it and to make it happen. I think there's a lot of work in it, but if you can make it happen and stick with it, I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah, just surround yourself with the right people. Co-founders are so beneficial from every perspective. You were talking earlier about that decision-making process. My thoughts on that as well is, I'm the gut instinct type of person, but my co-founder and our general manager is more of the informed decision-making person. I think that's what Vu was saying with his co-founders as well. So, go for it, and as much as you can, surround yourself with the right people.
I'd just say make sure your product or your service is really needed or required because we've seen so many people put lots of money and lots of time into things and maybe they haven't done the right research to make sure. And then the other thing is, for some reason, people think that as soon as you open a business, you're just rich. And you just have money, like the money just comes into your account.
That's normally your family that's thinking that, right?
Yeah, and definitely people that haven't run businesses. Yes, definitely. So just know that it could be years of not having money. you know. And that's if you have a product or a service that is actually needed or wanted. So, yeah, do your product research, I guess.
I'll steal a quote off, I think it's Tom Watson, who's the founder of IBM. Nothing happens until a sale is made. So you can have, up until that point, you've got an idea. So until someone's willing to hand over their hard-earned cash, who is not a friend, family, or a fool, to buy your product or service, you have an idea and not a business.
Very timely. Last two questions, and we'll wrap it up. To play on the global stage, so outside of our local Logan City, because you're all cool in the city, but you're also playing the game on a bigger stage, what's more important? If you had to choose capital or knowledge and guidance? If you can't choose both, I mean, the smart person in the room would say choose both, but what would you choose? Would you choose capital or would you choose knowledge?
I would probably choose knowledge and guidance, to be honest. I think we're moving into areas that we've got no experience with, but we need to, like you said, surrounding yourself with good people who know and have been through this before is absolutely vital. So you don't make the same mistakes that other people have made, essentially. So I think that's, and we're living in a time where money's pretty cheap. So I think the knowledge and the guidance is more important than money.
Because you do need both. You can't say I can have both, but I guess one of the two is more likely to lead you to the other. So the knowledge will be more likely through those connections to take you on the path to finding the capital. You can't just buy the knowledge. So I'd choose the knowledge, yeah.
Yeah, knowledge for sure, 100%.
Yep. That's
Sort of expected you to say knowledge.
We're a learning company.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Boo's not going to say the money. What are you working on right now? That's the next thing for you. I'm guessing it's YouPay that would be consuming.
Yeah, YouPay's taking up a lot of our time. Big feature.
What's next though? Tell us the feature first.
Okay, the feature that's pretty cool is the gift registry for your life. So the concept here is everybody's coming into Christmas. At present, you have to awkwardly say, what do you want? What do you want for Christmas? But I want all of you to be on YouPay, have the YouPay app. Next time you're at David Jones, Meyer or whatever, and go, oh, that's really nice. That'd actually be perfect for Secret Santa. Create a little category inside your YouPay app called Work Colleagues.
I'm downloading it now.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. It's being built.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, put this particular item in there. And then one day when I think, you know what, that was really great with Nicki, and he's been a big supporter of me, I'm going to grab him a Christmas gift, I just go straight into your youpay.me. We grab that domain name, youpay.me /Matt Holme or /Nicki. And I'll see that, it turns out you're after a new mouse for your computer. Didn't know that, but whatever, I'll grab that for you. Before you know it, 3 days later, there's a parcel there with a nice note from Matt saying Merry Christmas. So that's the big cool feature that we're working on right now.
That is a dead set winner. Can anyone see that not working? Amazing. Sign me up when the app comes up.
For us, we're just about to launch the site security system in a couple of weeks, but what the big thing we're working on is the video as a sensor analytics. So actually using the smarts and the AI from the cameras to detect like
compliance, safety, and
all that
lower
sort of
cost of operation.
Yeah, because I think that's where you're going to see a huge benefit. No one's really done that at the moment. If we can save them money with all their OH&S and all the other bits and pieces, it's going to be a game changer.
Wow.
Ours is not as exciting as those two that we just heard, but...
Well, it's gas deliveries at Bunnings too, though.
Should have said freezing dead people.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, freezing dead people.
So all of the equipment that we use is purchased from overseas. It's just always been like that. Our whole industry in Australia for cryogenics is like that. All of our customers that we service, they purchase from overseas as well. If it's not from us, and then we're just getting it from China anyway. So we've got a big push to manufacture in Australia, and so that's what we'll be doing in the new year. I mean, it's already started. We've been speaking with Logan City Council, and they've been pushing us in the right direction. So if we can get that started, then hopefully we can be the first manufacturer that can manufacture this cryogenic equipment within Australia. So, and that's another thing that's come through COVID, obviously. Yeah.
Well, if anyone's going to do it, it's your company. So you have to do it. Yeah, well done.
No pressure.
Makes so much sense.
I don't know. For us, it's to keep growing. So probably to double or triple in the US and UK, which are overseas markets. To be the company that we want to be, we have to be incredibly successful overseas. That allows us to be able to put ourselves, what we do, our company, our city on the map. We have to be a truly global company in the next 12 to 24 months, which sounds like a very short timeline, but that's what we want to do.
got a question for you. Sorry.
Please
Last
do.
question. So do you feel like being like in tech and online that you have to make it overseas first before Australia? Because I've heard it's like if you're trying to launch in Australia, that people just aren't on for it unless they've seen you have that success overseas first.
I guess it depends what you're trying to achieve. Like, for us, we think that what we're looking to build is globally applicable. But I think it's market, if you have great penetration into a market like the US, then you're going to have a great foothold to be able to enter other markets, whether it be in Europe, whether it be in Southeast Asia, wherever it might be. The challenge is that, as Australians, we are the only people in the world who will travel 18 hours to get anywhere. Right? So as a result of that, the tyranny of distance has always been our biggest problem. But with the likes of the fact that we can now do online meetings and that's normal, right? You can, if you want to sell into the US or UK, you can. You just got to be willing to wake up later, wake up earlier, whatever it might be. I think in terms of the change in the world, in terms of people going online and having those Zoom meetings, as much as I'm saying they're not as effective as being face-to-face, for Australia, it's a massive advantage for us because suddenly we get to overcome that tyranny of distance incredibly quickly. It's acceptable. I do not have to come and meet you in your boardroom to pitch to you, because odds are we're going to have to do it in Zoom whether I live down the street from you or if I live in Australia and you're in New York. So I think part of that pressure to go overseas is not external, it's internal. It's to go, we want to become a truly global company because we think that where we can make a difference is at scale. Our vision is to be able to be responsible for the learning of at least 1 billion people globally. Australia doesn't have that population for us to do that.
Thank you.
I think there is an element of you're always more successful outside your pond. I hear that a lot with people that make it in the US, and then when they come back, people look at them differently, what you were leading to.
And you're 100% right. Look at Atlassian. Atlassian is a great Australian company, but at the end of the day, all their success came from the US, and most Australians do not know what Atlassian does, but they know who Atlassian is.
Exactly. Well, we're out of time, so just quickly in a one-word answer, and you did touch on it before, 2021, what's the one word that you would use to describe when you're thinking about 2021?
Growth.
Excitement.
Yeah, opportunity.
Oh, that was mine.
You can have the same one.
Opportunity.
Excellent. Well, there you have it, folks. The Founders Couch, the mail is in. 2021 is looking fairly solid. Everyone's feeling confident. Everyone thinks that there's still opportunity on the table, and why wouldn't you? I'd like you to join me in thanking Tran, Marcia Edwards, Matt Holme and Michael Roach, our founders this evening on the couch. Thank you, everybody. This event's made possible with support from Advance Queensland and the Logan City Council through the Advancing Regional Innovation Program, and also thank you to Justin and Paulette from LCC. Thank you very much. Along with the Innov8 Logan team, Joe, Brad, Stuart and Regent for designing and delivering this event. Thank you very much to everybody for your input. It's been great. Make sure you connect with us on your favourite social platform. If you haven't, please get your phone out. I know it's in your pocket. I know you want to look at it. Innov8 Logan is where you need to go on your favourite platform. That way you'll always get the updates from the Innov8 Logan team. A replay of this event is available and those links are on those sites. Like I said, if you want to send it to your mum and dad, which is what I'm doing, you can do that. The link's there. Don't forget to catch me, the weekly Business 101 show, 6 p.m. Monday nights. We'd love to have you listen via iHeartRadio on Logan 101 FM. We can also catch up on the podcast of the show, of course. I am Coach Nicki on behalf of the Innov8 Logan team. Thanks for your company. And remember, version 1 is always better than version none. Thank you and go the Maroons. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time.
That's you guys. Mate, thank you so much. What are we doing?